sure where it's going to go in Liberty football history, but it will go down as one of the best games a lot of people have seen here at Williams Stadium. Double overtime win for Richmond over the Liberty Flames, 46-39 on Saturday. And before we kind of get in the game, Nick, let's talk about the crowd. Over 20,000, stadium record. It was electric, and they got their money's worth on Saturday.
No doubt about it. 20,838 shattered the old record. First time we've cleared 20,000 here, and what a great weekend it was, homecoming weekend. All the alumni back, the students were out in full force. It was an electric atmosphere, everything that you would want for this game. In-state, top 25 opponent, everything except the outcome, obviously. And the Flames would love to have that back. But it was an incredible college football game, as you pointed out. And, a lot of twists and turns, ebbs and flows, but ultimately Richmond one play better.
Flames down at halftime 22-7. Then the adjustments were made for Liberty. Josh Woodrum, Petey Peterson put the team on their backs and kind of willed them back into the game. And we'll get into the John Lunsford field goal in a minute. But a great job by Josh to kind of rally the troops and get them going.
Well, those guys are playmakers, aren't they?
Yeah.
Woodrum and Peterson. I said this sometime late in the fourth quarter. Regardless of what the outcome of this game is, those two guys that established themselves as big-time gamers, big-time playmakers. Josh Woodrum, career-high 98 yards rushing on the ground. He accounted for 5 touchdowns. And my goodness, Petey Peterson, over 100 yards receiving, 4th straight game. And then the concentration on the touchdown catch in the back corner of the end zone on the one, where he had to juggle the ball, get possession, keep a foot in. He's got a DB draped over him. And outstanding play from those two. So I think going forward, you're encouraged by that fact that those two guys are on your football team and leading the way.
And Woodrum, after the ball game, said he was proud of the resolve his teammates showed.
I was really happy with how our team responded, more than anything. Obviously, the outcome's not what we wanted, but, we're going to learn from this. And, last year we had a loss like this to Coastal and ended up winning 5 straight and tied for the Big South, almost made it into the playoffs. So, we're going to learn from this. We're going to be better next week, and we're going to be a better team from this.
Flames down 32-29, 1.8 seconds left on the clock. They worked their, I don't want to call it even a 2-minute drill, but it was an under 10-second drill. They got Gabe on a cross.
They rehearse that one in practice all the time, Alan, the 10-second drill.
But Henderson got them in good shape. They had a timeout left. And then they took John Lunsford out for a 60-yard field goal into the wind, and it was magical.
I was a little surprised to see him come out there at first, and Turner Gill told us after the game he would have ran him out there from 65. Well, it was a good thing he didn't, have to, because it might not have been good from 61, but it was just enough for what Lunsford needed to tie the ball game. But I was a little surprised he ran him out there at first, and then I got to thinking about it. You got a better shot of doing this than you do throwing a ball up in the end zone, where Richmond's going to probably have about 7 guys back there on the goal line.
Yep.
So good decision there, obviously, looking back on it now. I think either way you could look back and say that was probably your best decision. But Lunsford, give that kid a lot of credit. Big South record, school record, 60-yard field goal. I think he missed the NCAA record by, 3 yards or something like that?
Yep.
So, what a kick. I mean, that's one of the – regardless of the outcome of the game, that was one of the top moments that I can remember just being around Liberty Flames football. And actually, it was interesting, though, because you look at it, Richmond, they called the timeout, I thought, a little early. If you're Danny Rocco, maybe you want to let that clock bleed down a little bit more before you get that timeout off. As you said, when we were talking beforehand, you got to let the clock's got to stop to move the chains anyway.
Yep.
So you've got time to kind of set and think about, not a lot of time, but kind of set and think about what you want to do. They left the Flames a little bit too much time, as it turned out.
We caught up with John Lunsford after the ball game and got his raw emotions on the big kick.
It definitely boosted my confidence as a kicker and also as a football player, knowing that I'm able to do that in a game, not just in practice. Definitely boost my self-confidence.
I think a lot of fans and those that follow Liberty football had the same feeling, Nick, after the ball games we did last year. Double overtime homecoming loss to Coastal. But as Josh Woodrum said after the game, the team went on a run and claimed another share of the Big South Championship. So a lot of football left, and this team will be ready to play against Appalachian.
I think there's a couple of things that are different about this one than last year. First of all, the Flames blew a big lead last year against Coastal Carolina.
19 twice, yeah.
This time, the Flames overcame a big deficit. and put themselves in a position to have a chance to win the ball game when really, looking at it from the outside in, they probably should have had that chance.
Yeah.
So, but that's a credit to Liberty's will to come from behind. Secondly, it's a non-conference game. Now, certainly it hurts in your at-large hopes.
Sure.
But you look at it, the entire conference is in front of you. You still control your own fate. Unlike the Coastal Carolina loss last year, it's a conference loss. Yeah, you start looking for some help. So everything's in front of you still, and you got a bye week coming up after Appalachian State to kind of regroup and refocus on conference play. You know, it's not as devastating a loss as it is last year. Is it disappointing? Sure. Is it heartbreaking? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's not as devastating as the one last year against Coastal Carolina, in my take.
Turner Gill said after the ball game he'll get his team together and they'll be ready to go again this week.
We'll learn from this, and we stay together as a team, and God has blessed us that we still have some other opportunities to do what we need to do, is be conference champions, and then see what happens after that.
From one homecoming game here at Liberty to another at Appalachian State coming up on Saturday, 3:30 kickoff from Boone. Our pregame radio coverage comes your way at 2 o'clock. Interesting matchup between Appalachian State out of the Sun Belt, another FBS opponent, and a team reeling right now at 1-4.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And they just took a major lopsided home loss this past week to South Alabama, 47-21. So Appalachian State, I think reeling is the right word. We'll see how they bounce back from that. Still, though, for Liberty, you can't take them lightly. It's an FBS opponent. It's on the road, and the Rock is a very tough place to play traditionally. Yeah. So, you know, you gotta take them seriously. You got to get on there and get off the schneid here, and hopefully get a win going into the bye week. That's the worst thing. You don't want to have a loss going into a bye week, and you got 2 whole weeks to think about it. So hopefully we'll see the Flames get back on track.
One scheduling reminder here, programming note if you will, no Liberty Flames Network TV coverage. It will be covered on a video stream by ESPN3, but we will have exclusive radio play-by-play coverage with Nick in the pregame show at 2 o'clock in Boone. For Nick, I'm Alan York for Liberty Flames Sports Network.